Brad.
Joseph.
It's just us today.
It's just us, and that's okay.
It's just us league. The Justice League.
I see what you did there. Not to be confused with the Justice League.
The Joss Whedon League. the Premier League. I don't know where I'm going with this.
It's more of a beer league.
Yeah. We're talking about a movie called Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping this week.
It's a fucking fabulous movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I've loved this movie since the first time I saw it.
What, did you see it like in theaters or anything?
I saw it in theaters, yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw it a little later, like probably post like Blu-ray, DVD, video on demand. And I very much enjoyed it when I did see it. It's a great time. And rewatching it again the other day was even better.
Yeah, it's a great time. I saw it in high school with my friends. Because this was back in the days when I would just watch every movie, and then I stopped for a while in college, and now I'm starting to get back. I'd say I've probably surpassed like what I watched in high school.
Oh, hell yeah.
When I was in high school, I would just watch a movie like every week with my friends.
I'm this person to this day. I'm a big movie rewatcher, and I think that's kind of one of my flaws at this point. Like as a kid, it's cute, but like now it's like no, you can only watch Back to the Future so much, guy.
Yeah. But yeah, now lately I'll see like 2 or 3 movies a week. Mm-hmm. So
you're very cultured.
It's not that I try to be. I just really enjoy. Like it's just like I like stuff.
That's great. I like other stuff. Just not all of them are movies, and that's great. Which I'm sure not all of yours are movies as well.
I like some. Yeah.
You have other things. You have a personality, Joseph.
Somewhat. My personality is just movies. I've been told that before. Like. Just my personality is just movies.
I have certain friends where it's not like it's not like the core of our friendship, but a lot of them were built on like common movies we love, or even more specifically my friend group movies we can quote back and forth to each other. Yeah. Which for outsiders can be quite annoying, I hear.
Yeah. Tends to be. But this is a great movie. This is Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Directed by Akiva Schaffer. Mm-hmm. It stars Andy Samberg and Jorma Taccone?
Something like that. Honestly, Andy Samberg was the only name I could pronounce.
Yeah. And Akiva Schaffer is also in it. The Lonely Island Boys.
The Boiz.
The Boiz.
What was your introduction to the Lonely Island? What got you into them?
I believe it was the Jack Sparrow music video.
Oh my god, that's my favorite Lonely Island thing. It's so great. I love Jizzed in My Pants is probably my introduction. Yeah. Outside of like probably some SNL sketches I probably saw back in the day. And then I'm on a Boat is probably what like launched them in my opinion. Yeah,
I think that was their big that and I Just Had Sex.
Yes.
And I remember I always knew what I Just Had Sex because I remember I would see like the thumbnail on YouTube, but I think it was like age restricted or something, so I was never allowed to watch it when I was a kid. And so I'm pretty sure Jack Sparrow was the first one that like I watched that like I wasn't. And I remember when that one came out, that was like such a bit like everybody was like quoting that one.
Yeah, dog, it was very popular, and for every good reason. It's very fucking funny and entertaining.
It's funny.
And Michael
it's like
fucking
a
Bolton.
Good song. Like I had that on my iPod. Like I would just like listen to that song.
Yeah, I have it on a couple of playlists on my Spotify currently.
Yeah. Do you listen to like a lot of their music or?
Honestly, I feel like I should. I'm the kind of person that I love musical comedy specifically, but I was for some reason I was like kind of a tangent, but for years I was kind of reluctant to get into like Bo Burnham because I was like, it's musical comedy, but then it's me. I go to Broadway shows all the time and they're often comedies, so it felt at one point I just kind of called out for being like a hypocrite, and I was like, okay, I'll expand on this. So I started watching like Bo Burnham, fell in love with him because he's brilliant. I saw him for the What tour like way back in the day. And then Lonely Island was more in like high school, so that was pre me investing in Bo Burnham. But that was another like, no, this is great. This is very funny. I found it more, to me it was more comedy than music, but it's comedy you can get stuck in your head and want to listen to.
Yeah, that is something I will say about like talking about the songs in the movie itself. I think every song is great except for the last song.
I feel you. It's just a downer.
They're just like listing like that's the point of the song is like we're just listing random things, but like it's just not that clever of a song, especially like for a finale song.
Yeah, the most clever part about it, besides like some of the stuff was like really clever wordplay. But the real thing was like making all of those random things like rhyme, stuff like that. So I can appreciate that challenge.
Yeah. I think we sort of had a similar opinion on Walk Hard, where it was just like all the songs were great up until like the last song, and then that was kind of like
Well, these movies have that theme where like the last song is the big like
that's the thing.
the big
like,
heart warmer kind of thing.
You build it up to be like, oh, this is going to be the best song in the movie, but it's, I mean, 0 and 2, like they're just kind of forgettable. But the rest of the songs, to this day, I love these songs. The fucking the gay rights song, or he's singing about how gay people should be allowed to be married, but also he's not gay.
Right. Yeah. Just to clarify.
Yeah. And then the Osama bin Laden song.
That one might be my favorite.
That one might be my favorite too.
It's
I sing that song all the time.
It's super. It gets stuck in your head. It's an earworm. That's at least what it's got going for it.
Yeah. The part when she's like, invade my cave with your special unit. He wasn't in a cave, but because
we're going for accuracy, and I appreciate that.
The thing about Connor for real is like he's supposed to be this like dumbass guy, but the fact that like in the middle of his song he's like specifying like, just so you know, Osama bin Laden wasn't in a cave. Like,
right. Yeah. It's very, very thoughtful for him to consider his fans.
Yeah, his songs
like,
are
hey,
a lot.
I don't want you guys to be dumb.
Yeah. His songs are a lot more intellectual than he is, which is strange.
I feel like that's kind of like art imitating life, because it seems like sometimes we get that from real musicians.
Yeah.
I can't name any specifically because there's probably a good amount, but
yeah, I think this movie was mostly based on Justin Bieber, but
did you ever see any of those music documentaries from like the 2010s
I think I have
post?
seen the Justin Bieber one.
I did actually. I actually saw that in theaters. I think
I saw it in theaters too.
I was too young to go to a bar, but I went at like 10 p.m. on like a Thursday.
Yeah.
It was literally just like me, and then like there was like a group of like 2 girls and their mom like 4 rows behind me. I was just curious because I was like, oh, music documentary. I can't say I've ever seen one of those in theaters.
Yeah.
Plus, I was like, oh, he's clearly popular. Let's see what the deal is. It was like a biopic a little bit too. Plus his tour going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that in there, but in terms of like the Connor for real, like like his previous life before Connor, like the boy band stuff, that I felt was more Timberlake, who is also in the movie.
He's also in the movie, yeah. I can see that. Yeah, obviously, because they're the Lonely Island, so they wanted to have the band element of it, but also like having him as the lead and as being like kind of a douchey guy, and he took a shit at the Anne Frank house, and I think like
that's definitely a Bieber thing.
Yeah, I think that was like a Justin Bieber thing.
He went to the Anne Frank house, signed the guest book, and was like, Anne was a truly amazing person.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would have been a believer.
Yeah. I mean, he might not have been wrong. We'll never know.
I mean, that's the thing. We can't say he's wrong.
We can't say for sure.
Like, there's a time and a place, and probably a different book you could write that in. Yeah. Perhaps your own diary, where no one else can hear or see it.
I think if Anne Frank was alive today, I think if she was 100-year-old lady today, she would like Justin Bieber's music.
Yeah, man, she might be more K-pop.
Probably, yeah. But okay, so I guess we could just start from the beginning. We've already talked about the music, but we'll talk about everything about this movie.
That's what's fun about a podcast.
Yeah. It's such a good movie. It didn't do well. We were talking about before. It didn't do well box office-ally.
Now $9.5 million out of a $20 million budget.
Yeah, and I think critically too, it didn't do super great. Like people just thought it was lame. But I was like, I remember when I saw it in theaters, I was like, this is the funniest movie I've ever seen.
It's a great time, even after, like, sometimes comedies aren't as funny when you rewatch them. And when I watched it for this podcast, it was a rewatch, and it was just as funny, if not funnier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of more evident that like comedies at a certain point just stop. It's not that they stop being good or quality. It's just they stop being profitable.
Yeah. Especially
with the uprising of like streaming quality or streaming content, and like there's more like YouTube and stuff now. TikTok's big with that gets a lot of people's attention. So it's a tough gig out there for making a comedy film.
Definitely so. Yeah, and I don't know if it was before or after, but around the same time of this film, Andy Samberg was making like these documentaries for HBO. I didn't see either of them, but one of them was like it was like a parody of the John McEnroe versus Bjorn Borg, like
with Kit from
Kit Harington.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember what it's called.
I remember it being a thing, and I think I've seen a couple like clips from it, but I've never seen it.
It was. I think it was called 7 Days in Hell or something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah,
and it was just them playing tennis, and then there was another one called Tour de Pharmacy where they were like, it was like the Tour de France, but like in the 70s, and everyone was like taking like steroids or something.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah, he seemed to be in like a big like mockumentary phase at this time because he was,
which is great because I think he's got a knack for it. It's a lot. It's kind of what the like digital short stuff. Some of it was, at least. A lot of it was like music videos and stuff.
Well, yeah. So the Lonely Island, they started. They started out as, I think their parents were, one of their parents was like producer of something, or I think they were industry babies.
It happens.
Nepo babies, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
But they started making these viral videos of like their silly songs and whatnot, which is how they landed on SNL. Andy,
it's just how it is now. Like I think I'm pretty sure that's how the Please Don't Destroy Boys also get on there. Steve Higgins' son is also one of them. But
two of their dads are like producers or like writers for SNL or something. So I mean, whatever.
But if they're funny, then great, you've earned it.
Yeah. But Andy Samberg was a cast member. The other two were writers, but they all still did like Lonely Island stuff on the show. It's just Andy was like in more sketches. Were you a fan of him like outside of were you a fan of his sketches or his like, just like, acting in SNL?
I thought he was a good fit for sure. Was he the best SNL performer? I wouldn't go that far, but like a lot of his stuff I thought was pretty iconic. Like his Nicolas Cage stuff on Weekend Update's very funny. Blanking on a bunch of his sketches, but he was good enough in my opinion.
Yeah, he was like either the music, like that's I think that what he was most known for, but then outside of that he was just like the kind of goofy like Afro guy.
That's the thing, he was just usually like the goofball in like sketches. Like I don't recall many sketches that he like was the star of. At least not currently. I'm sure there are that I just have forgotten about.
Outside of the music ones, he wasn't like the star of any of them.
I remember he's got a character, I believe his name's like Rodney or something. He's got like long red hair, wears like a kind of like Bert and Ernie sweater. I know that's one of his more iconic characters.
It's sort of like they were trying to make him like the Adam Sandler, which he is kind of like the Adam Sandler. I mean he's a music guy, does comedy, does like goofy voices. He's Jewish. It's just all the lines are.
That's all the qualifications to be Adam Sandler. That's his boy. That is his boy. Did you see That's My Boy?
This is the worst movie I've ever seen.
The worst?
I hated that movie, dude.
It didn't offend me as much as I thought it would. I thought Jack and Jill was much worse.
Jack and Jill was just a cash grab.
100%. It was the Eddie Murphy thing. Like, let's make him a woman.
Let's make him a woman and put them on a cruise ship. Let's or like there was a David Spade one that came out a couple of years ago where like it all took place in Hawaii.
That's The Wrong Missy.
The Wrong Missy. Yeah.
I loved The Wrong Missy.
And it was just let's just all go to Hawaii.
I have a bit of a bias for like the cast and stuff.
But Andy Samberg nowadays is Brooklyn Nine-Nine still on?
It is no longer on. It was on, where did it start? Fox?
I think it was on NBC and then it got bought by Fox.
NBC canceled it, and then Fox took it back up, and then I believe they had 2, maybe 3 more seasons, and then it ended a couple of years ago. I want to say it was during COVID. They were filming their last season because they did a bunch of rewrites for the bunch of police action going on during that point.
I stopped watching it. I think like right before COVID. I had seen every season up until then.
That was one of the shows I was late to. I binge watched a lot of it, and then by the time it moved, I started watching it when it was out. But it was still like, let me wait for like that season to end, or let me wait till like 8 or 9 episodes build up, and then I'll watch them all.
Yeah. Do you know what else he's up to?
Like currently?
Yeah. He was in Spider-Verse. He played Ben Reilly in Spider-Verse.
That's true.
And Yorma and Akiva I think are also in Spider-Verse.
I believe it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Spider-Verse.
Yorma was the Green Goblin in the first one, and then I think
neat.
he does like some other voices, but I know for a fact it was Green Goblin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different characters you can be in Spider-Verse. That doesn't surprise me at all. I'm assuming Sandberg might be in his dad era, because I can't say I've seen him in a lot much.
Yeah, I haven't
like
seen
lately.
him too much either. Outside.
And that's what happens with a lot of like comedians who go hard and then just kind of vanish.
He was in Palm Springs, which I think Akiva also directed.
I could see it. That was a good movie.
That was such a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie when it came out.
Yeah, great fucking movie.
It was like funny, but it was also like a lot of heart and like, yeah, you know, it was like the biggest Sundance like
I was gonna
purchase.
say it was indie as fuck, right?
Yeah, it was like the largest purchase at Sundance by like 1 cent.
Nice.
I think they did that on purpose. Is they wanted to get the largest one by 1 cent, and
who would have been on that? Hulu?
Hulu did, yeah.
Oh, good for Hulu.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great movie, and it was a pandemic movie.
Yeah,
it wasn't shot during the pandemic,
yeah,
but it came out.
Yeah, it was ready to be released.
Yeah.
And then the world went to shit.
Which they probably could have filmed this during the pandemic.
Probably
it all takes place at a hotel.
Yeah, it's pretty like I don't know, secluded, but it's like a bubble, I guess, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And the cast isn't very large.
Yeah, small cast. J.K. Simmons is great in it. He's great in everything. I love J.K. Simmons.
He's one of those guys I could watch him in anything.
Him and Samuel L. Jackson are my favorite actors.
Sam Jackson's that guy.
I want to see a movie of them just yelling at each other.
Ooh. Yeah. I wonder if they have done anything together that we.
They were both in Spider-Man: Far From Home.
That's right.
But they didn't have any scenes together.
Did not. It's tragic.
But yeah, just because I feel like they're the black and white version of each other. They're just bald old men who yell at people.
That's oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
What would be JK's like motherfucker though? Like what's like
Yeah, I guess he doesn't have like
wise guy.
Like not my tempo.
Not my fucking tempo.
That's
not my yes, that's perfect.
I mean, he's either screaming about Spider-Man or he's screaming about drums.
He's got a lot to be angry about.
Yeah.
He doesn't scream as Jim Gordon though. Not that he got the opportunity. But.
Yeah, he had like 2 minutes of screen time in that movie. Okay, but this Andy Samberg movie we're talking about, Connor for Real. So they were in a group called the Style Boys.
Style Boys, that's right. I couldn't remember their name.
Yeah, and they were a big hit, but then Connor, he gets a bit too big. He gets a bit too popular.
Timberlake, it happens.
And their manager is what's his name?
Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows.
Yes. I always confuse manager and publicist. I'm like, wait, Sarah Silverman's the publicist. Yeah, she's great.
Tim Meadows is the manager, and he was a former member of Tony, but then they kicked him out.
Poor guy.
Yeah. But he made it big, repping the Style Boys.
Absolutely. And he got his like superstar moment then in the movie with his saxophone, is that right?
His big saxophone solo.
Good for him. We love a sax man.
Yeah. And then Akiva, he gets mad that Andy Samberg stole his verse that he wrote for Emma Stone. She has a cameo. Yeah. They call it the catchphrase verse because he just says so many catchphrases. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of dumb too, but I was like, whatever. It's just funny.
It gets the movie done.
Yeah. There was some that I thought like that was a really funny catchphrase.
Going back to SNL sketches really quick, Emma Stone's in one of my favorite Lonely Island like SNL sketches. It's where she's this girl who's like she just keeps breaking her arm in a cafeteria.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one, but
she's like it's like a whole music video. In the beginning, she's like, "Hey, everybody, I broke my arm," and it's like this big like song, and then she's like, "Sign my cast," and it's really funny. And then she slips, breaks her other arm, and then it just keeps repeating until she breaks her whole shit. Then the music video ends with her like in a wheelchair.
Okay.
I guess saying it out loud, it kind of hasn't aged well, has it?
I guess not. No. But most SNL hasn't, I guess.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going.
Okay, so this movie, Connor, he's going on tour. It's about the tour. This is we talked about Spinal Tap. This is like the direct descendant of Spinal Tap.
Absolutely.
It's they're going on tour. He's about to drop a big album. Conquest is the name of the album, and it's a picture of him dressed up like Hitler, and everyone's like saluting him.
It's Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
He can get away with it.
Yeah.
That was like him being in the disguise, and Sarah Silverman's like, you look like propaganda.
That was hilarious. And he's going to do a big collab with a refrigerator company.
Yes, fucking insane.
So that way every refrigerator like plays Connor for Real's music.
Poking fun at U2's iPod debacle.
Yeah. There was a ton of like celebrity cameos. Like
that's one of the things that like I didn't find like not frustrating necessarily, but it was just kind of like I really had to like focus in on like who is a like a Sarah Silverman or Tim Meadows. Like they're famous people playing a character, but then who's like a famous person playing themselves? Like, okay, DJ Khaled is clearly playing himself.
Well, yeah, when he does what is it? The catchphrase song. DJ Khaled was like, because DJ Khaled's known for his catchphrases. Let's go golfing.
Let's go golfing.
Tell him to bring out the ocean.
Tell him to bring out the whole ocean.
Oh, God, it's so silly. That man is silly.
You ever play rugby?
Have you ever played rugby?
Have you even seen any of those DJ Khaled?
I've seen this. I just can't. I've clearly seen this movie more than I have.
No. This isn't from the movie. This is just from DJ Khaled's TikToks.
Oh, this I do not follow him on TikTok, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Let's go golfing."
Let's go golfing.
And then he walked out and he got like a brown colored like Rolls Royce or something. He's like, "Tell him to bring out the cappuccino."
Tell him to bring out the cappuccino.
What the fuck?
And then he's like, "Tell him to bring out the whole ocean."
Tell him to bring out the whole ocean.
Oh my God, I had to unfollow him in like back like when he was doing Major Key Alert stuff. So I think that's the last time I checked in on DJ Khaled. Last time I checked in on DJ Khaled, he got lost on a jet ski, which could have been tragic.
In his own backyard.
Yeah, which could have been tragic. So it's not. It's funny now, but at the time it was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, he just like DJ Khaled is turned into because he started out producing music and then he did all these like viral things of like We the Best and Major Keys, and then he sort of fell off for a little bit, and so now he's getting back with the like let's go golfing.
Let's go golfing.
And like just Assad, he was like his son Assad. He was like he was doing that for a while. DJ Khaled's whole persona is just like, what's the loudest thing that I can get people to repeat online?
Right, and that I can like get played on a track on the radio or in clubs and shit.
And I mean, it's working for him.
No,
he's
a genius at the end of the day. Like
I
consider artists like him and like Miley Cyrus, like back when she was like twerking and shit. Like that's just brilliance on their end because it fucking worked out.
Yeah, it's something that I was always confused about him. Is like, what does he even do? Like I know he produces the music and whatever, but like at this point now, he's not producing. Like he
could have people to produce.
Yeah, he just like brings Jay-Z and Drake over his house and like gets like a beat from like whoever, and then just I don't know what DJ Khaled does.
I'm sure you're on par.
Yeah.
you're on the right track. I'm sure there's a little more technique to it.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I'm not a musician, so I can't really speak to that.
Yeah, he deserves his money or he doesn't. We'll never know.
Whether it's for music or just being like a quotable social media star, like he deserves success in some realm.
Yeah. My favorite cameo was Ringo Starr, and it was right after he did the gay song, and he's like, I don't know why you say like gay rights, it's allowed.
He's writing this song for gay marriage. Like it's not allowed, it's allowed now.
But like
I remember that part. Like it's already a thing.
That was a good bit. I was laughing so hard when I saw it in the theater. I remember. Who else? Yeah, like Questlove, RZA, Usher, Nas. Yeah, ASAP Rocky. It is a bit of like it. I guess maybe back then it was funny, but nowadays it's just kind of played out the thing of like, oh, these like black rappers talking about like how this white rapper was like so influential. Like there's a few SNL sketches where they do it where it's like, oh, this white rapper is so influential, and they'll have like Questlove come do it, and then it'll be like, okay, like
that reminds me of a sketch SNL did a few years ago. It was back when Mike O'Brien was I think he was in the cast. He was a writer for a longer period, but he was in the cast for at least one season. And that season, he did a sketch where he played Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that type of joke, I don't know. I never found it super funny because it's just like kind of played out to be like, oh, look at all these like famous black guys are validating this white guy. It's like,
we have seen that before at this point. Yeah, I agree with you there.
But it was, I don't know. I guess it was funny at the time.
Yeah.
But speaking of black guys in this movie, this was Chris Redd's big break.
It was.
He was prior to SNL. He's basically playing Tyler the Creator in this movie.
Yeah.
He's Howard the Hungry or Hunter the Hungry or something like that.
I'm gonna go with Hunter.
Hunter, yeah, that sounds right.
It's definitely something the Hungry because it's it's 100% Tyler the Creator.
Yeah.
Who's also a very funny, silly person who honestly maybe should have been in this movie.
Yeah, he could have been in this movie.
He's perfect for it.
I actually met Chris Redd like not soon after I saw this movie.
Oh, no kidding.
It was like right before he was on SNL. This was sort of like their audition for him to like do SNL.
I was gonna say, where were you met Chris Redd?
This was at the Laugh Factory in LA.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
I went there with some friends, and then like one of their like cousins was performing there. And she was hanging out with the comedians after, and then Chris Redd was one of them. And then it was kind of, I don't know. He was like the nicest one out of all of them, which was like, it kind of tells you something, because I don't know if you notice this, like comedian guys will like do this thing. I think you might, because we talked about this before, where be like,
I've met a lot of like famous people, some of which are comedians. So I probably know what you're talking about.
They'll be like, oh, I'm a comedian, so I'm just going to be a dick to people. But like, you know, if they don't take it, like if they can't take it, then like they're a pussy. But like that's sort of how these guys were, where it was kind of like we were telling them like, oh, great show, and then they were just kind of like, oh, fuck you, like, oh, you guys are gay, like whatever. And it was just like, all right, yeah, like I get it, you're a comedian, but like, you know,
I don't know.
Maybe I'm a pussy for feeling that way.
I guess I've gathered that I am, because to me it costs $0 to be nice.
Yeah, like they were just like talking so much shit, and I was just like, dude, like this is really unwarranted. And then
for that to be your first impression of these people, that's not good.
Yeah. So to get back at Chris Redd, I told him that he looked like skinny Hannibal Buress. Which, looking back on it, that wasn't like the best comeback I could have, but that was.
It's a compliment, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a more compliment than it is like an insult.
Yeah, like to be accused of being a skinny anything. Yeah. I would take
you're
very
a skinny,
lightly.
Really successful like comedian. One of the most popular comedians right now. You're the skinny version of him.
You're the skinniest one.
Yeah,
that's very funny.
I had a great insult, and they were just kind of like, what? But I told him, did you base your character off Tyler the Creator? And he was like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, I knew it. Yeah, so that's my Chris Redd story.
Well, that's very fun. I first saw Chris Redd pre-SNL, but it was on I believe it was a Netflix show with Kathy Bates, where she like ran a dispensary.
Okay.
Or something. It was like a multicam sitcom with a studio audience and stuff, but they could say fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and it's
I
like
sitcoms
it like takes place in a dispensary, so they're like smoking weed in it.
I think I didn't watched it, but I've seen like that before, and I know what you're talking about.
I had friends who loved it and showed me a few episodes, and I thought it was fine. Like I like most sitcoms, like I don't really discriminate, but I didn't see it going past the season. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah. But that was cool to see the guy go from that to SNL within probably not even like 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, his come up was like quick.
It really was. And then I think he got nominated, or maybe even won at least got a nomination, because he's an Emmy winner now.
Okay.
But
for SNL?
Yeah, a few times. I think his first year he got nominated, maybe possibly won.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he's doing the music stuff on SNL now. Like
Chris Redd?
Chris Redd, yeah.
Oh, is he?
He does all the rapping like stuff on SNL.
He hasn't been on SNL in probably at least a year.
Oh, he isn't?
Yeah, he's not there anymore.
What is he doing now? He was on Kenan Thompson's show. I don't think that's still around though.
Have you heard about Kenan and Chris Redd recently?
No.
Ooh.
Are they pedos?
No.
Okay.
So Kenan Thompson's recently divorced.
Okay.
Chris Redd is recently booed up with the same person Kenan Thompson divorced. Yeah, it's no bueno.
Oh. That happened on the set of the Keenan show.
Likely. Because they got a second season.
Is he not on the second season?
I'm not sure. I did not watch Kenan. But after I heard about all that, I was concerned for, the
Chris Red's life.
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I'm more
Kenan
team,
wouldn't kill someone.
I'm more team Kenan.
Yeah.
I grew up on Kenan. Heavyweights, all that, Mighty Ducks. Like, no, that's my fucking guy right there.
Yeah. What about Don Johnson? He was on that show too.
Don Johnson. Why am I blanking on a Don Johnson?
Don Johnson from Miami Vice. You don't know Don Johnson?
I'm sure I've seen his face before, but I am 100%
He was dad in
blanking.
Knives Out. He was Jamie Lee Curtis's husband in Knives Out.
Okay, yeah.
He
He's
was
cool as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know if he was Keenan's dad, but he was like a dad who was on
That's
the show.
right. He was on. Yeah, I think he may have been like the kid's grandpa or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
But yeah,
I know
he was on the
I know
show.
what you're talking about now.
Yeah, love me some Don Johnson, but I didn't watch the Keenan show either.
I didn't either. I'm busy.
Yeah, dude, these network sitcoms, like I have no interest in watching any of them anymore.
That's the thing. They're tough, and I feel bad because
Yeah.
I want Kenan to succeed outside of SNL, even though he's found great success at SNL.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to Good Burger 2, though. Teaser trailer just dropped the other day.
Yeah, even that, like I don't really care.
That's fine. Most
Yeah.
people don't, but I'm a nostalgia whore.
Yeah, I don't know, a lot of these nostalgia, like did you see that Zoe 102 or Zoe
I was not. I didn't watch Zoe 101, so I had no
Neither did
interest.
I, but
same thing with the iCarly reboot. I'm like,
Yeah.
good for these actors and writers, assuming they hired the same writers, because a lot of the times they don't.
Yeah.
But not for me.
Mr. Mosby like directed episodes of the new season.
Phil
of
Lewis.
iCarly.
I did hear that recently. Good for him.
I was like, oh, that's weird.
A little
But,
weird.
Yeah,
Did you know he once killed a man?
I did. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Well,
But it's all,
manslaughter. That's okay. That's
happens.
the best kind of murder if you think about it.
it works out for a lot. Caitlyn Jenner, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
It's fine. And he did that pre Sweet Life. So who's living a sweet life now?
Yeah.
Phil Lewis.
Directing episodes of iCarly.
Gig is a gig. Topanga from Boy Meets World directs episodes of Raven's Home. So
is that so?
That's very
Okay.
true. Yes, it's so it's very fun to be like, oh, these
Yeah.
employees just get to move around.
Bryan Cranston directed episodes of The
Malcolm.
Office.
Oh, The
Yeah,
Office.
and Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
But yeah, he directed episodes of The Office.
He was in The Office for a little bit, was he? Or did he do an
Cranston.
episode?
He might have. I don't.
I feel like if he did, maybe not, because I feel like stills of that would have gone around for meme reasons.
Yeah, it's like, like Michael meets.
Maybe this was
Walter.
like just after Malcolm, and he was like, I don't want to do front camera stuff. It could have been
possibly.
pre-Malcolm, post-Malcolm, pre-Breaking Bad, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. But he might have appeared in it. I can't think of any time that he did.
I just remember him as Kenneth's dad in 30 Rock.
That's right. Yeah,
Him and,
we talked about that in our 30 Rock. You should check out our 30 Rock episode. It
Please
was very
do. It's
funny.
very funny.
Did we do 2 30 Rock episodes? I think we did 2.
I think we did at least 2. Yeah.
Watch both of them,
Watch
but
them.
also watch the one where we talk about Kenneth's dad, played by Bryan Cranston.
Yes, and his mom is Catherine O'Hara.
Yes.
Iconics.
Let's talk about network sitcoms for a while because I think you like them a bit more than I do.
I like a network sitcom. I don't watch all of them.
Yeah.
I don't watch even the ones I do like. A lot of them I've not seen every single season. Like I really much like Seinfeld, but I've only seen the first like 5 seasons like repeatedly. Like I've seen like Festivus and stuff. Like I'm very familiar with. It's like Friends. Like I've seen maybe a season but front to back.
Yeah.
But I know enough of the show to get it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I like sitcoms. If I had to pick like a dream job, it might be there. But I also know but there's also part of me that's like, that's not a permanent gig. So maybe a dream job might be a bit generous.
Yeah. Like I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine might be the last one that like I watched.
I can see that.
Because a lot of these ones now I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it's just because like they've lost the allure of it to me, but it's a lot of, maybe it's like the formula has been so played out, but
I agree with that. I feel like they're at least for like the 2000, like let's say like 2008 to 2020, there's just an oversaturation of sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like more shows than not were sitcoms.
yeah. And I think just this new generation of like celebrities, I'm not tuned in as much as like.
Yeah, I get that.
Because like I couldn't tell you like what the big sitcoms are right now.
One that I watched that I highly recommended you and everybody, because
Yeah.
I truly believe it's like I don't know if it's bringing back the sitcom, but it's reborn. It's like, oh, this is what fucking sitcoms are. Is Abbott Elementary?
Okay, yeah, I have heard that one is really good.
It's
yeah.
all the hype around it is fucking true. Like
Okay.
Quinta has fucking nailed it. It is
Yeah.
a beautiful. It's just a show that's like joke,
Yeah.
and even if you don't get every single joke, it's that joke is for somebody. So it's one of those shows that like I think everybody can enjoy.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I've heard that one is good. I've been meaning to check that one out, but like
Yeah, highly recommend.
yeah, I don't know, like I know you were telling me that I should check out Kim's Convenience. Like that's another one where
That was a great show.
I never even heard of it, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Kim's Convenience," and then I was like, "I've never heard of anyone on the cast." Like
That was me too for the longest time
Yeah.
though, and then I watched it and went,
I'm
oh,
sure
this is
it's
awesome.
great, but it's just like I just don't know what's like going on anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of, from a certain period, there's a lot of network sitcoms being made.
Yeah.
But at that same time, there's also the uprise of streaming services, which
Yeah.
are also producing sitcoms. So there's just too much to pick
Too
from.
many sitcoms, yeah. I didn't even watch the last season of Modern Family.
That's one I want to watch because I've seen like an episode here and there, but
Yeah.
never watched it enough to like know like the family dynamics and shit like that.
Yeah.
But every time I've seen it, or I see a lot of clips in my like it's in like my algorithms too,
Yeah.
and it's always very funny shit. So that's on my list, I think.
Yeah. Okay, we'll add one more point about sitcoms, and then we'll go back to this movie. Do you have a point about sitcoms?
I mean, to me, they're similar to theater. Like I think they're just classic to me. Like sitcoms kind of came up in the 50s when they
Yeah.
started doing with like I Love Lucy and shit. And so to me, it's just like a timeless format. Like
Yeah.
it's something that would truly bum me out that if it just went away tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not that I think it's going to, but like you don't see as many multicam, taped in front of a studio audience on a
Yeah.
Thursday night shows that much anymore. A lot of them have just laugh tracks.
Yeah, and and I feel like anything sort of constitutes a sitcom now because like even something like Succession, like it's funny and there's situations, and so it's like, is this a situational comedy?
I tell people that it's funny. I don't tell them it's a comedy necessarily, but
Yeah.
it's one of those. It's kind of like the show Shameless.
Yeah,
So that's also considered a comedy, but it's also very dramatic. They deal with
Yeah.
a lot of heavy shit,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also a shitload of humor in it. So with shows like that, it's kind of like who even dictates that category?
Yeah.
Because sometimes like award shows and shit will just get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite like reactions or gifs or whatever is of Lorde, the musician Lorde.
Yeah.
She once won an award. I can't remember for what award show, but she won Best Rock Album.
okay.
Lorde is not a rock
Yeah.
and roll artist. So when she goes up to accept the award, she like grabs it with like a confused face, is holding it, and she's just like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck am I doing here?"
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
yeah, just like all this genre stuff, even something like Atlanta. Like I remember when Atlanta was coming out, everyone was saying like, "Oh, it's a comedy," but if you like watched the last at least 2 seasons of Atlanta, it's like pretty depressing, and it's like very
I didn't love the
serious
last
and
few seasons. Like
really.
I mean, it just not as much. Like it's a
Yeah,
good show.
it's definitely-
it bummed me out, like you were talking about.
It's not, because it's not like Atlanta. Like the first 2 seasons and the last
Yeah.
2 seasons are very different from each other.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not the same as the prices on the can though.
Yeah. That's what I liked about the first 2 seasons. I mean, I'm sure this is what everyone liked about it, but
Yeah.
like it's like a surrealist comedy of like these like weird shit. Like it's not just
Yeah.
like it's funny because it's weird, but then also you would have like Teddy Perkins episode and like that type of shit where it's like kind of spooky, but it's like still funny and like
Yeah, or the episode where like that white family adopts like a bunch of black kids and is like, "Oh, we don't use washcloths in this house."
yeah. That was in the 3rd season. That was the first
Yeah, that was one of the
episode
later
of the 3rd
ones.
season.
But it was one of my favorites.
I still love the 3rd season, especially like the Oh man, we're so far off topic now, but it's okay.
It's all clippable.
The one when the episode when they're at that billionaire's house in London. That's like one of my favorite episodes.
It's a good one.
It's like a classic Atlanta episode, except it's just at a billionaire's party in London, and Alfred's trying to like cut a tree down, and Darius, like everyone like feels bad for him that he like faced depression, and and it did remind me a lot of the Champagne Poppy episode, which is another one of my favorite episodes.
I really liked a lot of the Amsterdam stuff. I did like, so even though some of it was fucked up, like the guy who they like, what's the word? Willing. I want you to murder me. Is pretty much the guy, the
Tupac guy.
Bed. Yeah, Tupac. That's right. Oh my god, that was so fucking.
Yeah, they didn't say it was Tupac, but they were like,
"This is
it might be Tupac."
Yeah,
yeah.
Fucking shit like that was like whoa.
The Liam Neeson scene. Do you remember the Liam Neeson scene?
I do. Yeah, that was after his fucking his little bad comment.
His little.
Which was I loved seeing shit like that, like little redemption arcs.
But then he was just like, "Nah, I hate most of you. Like, you tried to ruin my career." That was a pretty good Irish accent. I didn't know.
That was quite impressive. I like that.
And and Alexander Skarsgård is in the last episode, and he's just
I vaguely remember him being there. I don't. What does he do exactly?
He like Vanessa like plants crack in his hotel room, and then he's like hitting on her friends, and he's like, I think it would be a good idea if we all just took our clothes off, and he starts dancing for them. And
okay, yeah.
And then they go to a party where they eat hands. Do you remember that part?
I must have either totally not clocked it, or like maybe there's a chance I may have not seen that. This I have to see this now. They're eating hands.
Yeah, it's the last episode of the 3rd season.
Oh, of the 3rd season.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said the last episode ever. I'm like, why do I not remember that?
Yeah, the last episode is a different thing.
Eating ham. If it's 3rd season, I had to have seen it because I was way more like into it. I just must have forgot it.
It's 7:00. Do you have to go? What time do you have to go?
I don't have to go, but I've got some stuff I would like to do.
Okay, we can give our final thoughts on this Andy Samberg movie that we didn't talk about. It's one of like the best recent comedies, I think.
It's definitely up there. A lot of people I know who like comedies as much as I do also love it. In my opinion, a lot of the ones that bomb tend to be the better ones anyway.
Yeah, like there's just so many good jokes and like so many like little moments. That's what's great about a thing like this, is that since it's documentary style, you can like cut between like time periods. So it's like we'll shoot a scene and then we'll shoot another scene that like takes place a week later, and so and they just do so much like funny stuff with it. That we didn't talk about the TMZ crew of like
oh my god, I wanted to talk about that so bad. That was
Eric Andre.
That was probably my favorite, one of my favorite like reoccurring things.
Yeah, that was like a standout thing when I first saw the movie.
Yeah, because it was Arnett, Andre, and then
Chelsea Peretti.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's wife.
Yeah,
but she's also her own person.
She's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, but the 3 of them together was fucking.
And they just keep like having bigger water bottles.
They keep duct taping them and
like Connor. I hate Connor for real. For real. And they all just like laugh.
Everyone fucking dies.
Yeah,
it's growing up in my house, my TMZ was on an okay amount.
Okay.
So for the parody is spot on.
And then they just all have like a breakdown moment, and then Will Arnett's like, "Does anyone have a picture of James Franco leaving a Denny's?" And then and they just get back into it.
It's the weird reality of that working at that place, I reckon.
Yeah, it seemed like it. And then we have the seal scene where he gets attacked by wolves.
I honestly, if that were in like real life, like if Connor for real were for real, and he had something happen to where Seal was attacked, I would be anti-Connor for real.
Yeah,
it's like no, Seal is a
everyone was mad
treasure.
About that was funny that was the thing that set the public over.
Yeah, all the other shit's fine, and Frank whatever, but you had Seal harmed,
but
absolutely not.
Seal gets back at him by getting with his girl.
He should. Seal deserves it.
Seal, what else happens in this movie?
Seal just loves to get it in.
Ooh. Who wants a kiss from a rose? You know what I mean?
Among other things.
Ooh. Okay, there's the scene where they're in the car arguing, and then there's like the girl puts her butt up to the window, and then another girl puts her boobs up to the window, and then the guy puts his penis up to the window.
That's right. We don't wash the car.
Yeah, and then he signs the penis. He's like holding it like a napkin, like.
Oh my god, there's just a lot of the scenes in this movie are just by themselves just so fucking great. So the fact that more people didn't see this movie is such a bummer.
Yeah. For some reason I remembered the Osama bin Laden music video being in the movie, but it's not in the movie. He just performs it at a concert. But the bin Laden music video is online.
I was gonna say I feel like I know one exists.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I haven't seen it. Is a certain like actor in it or a comedian?
Yeah, you know the girl she's from SNL. I don't remember her name.
Nassim Pedrad?
No. It's not Heidi Gardner, but it's like the regular looking girl, I guess.
That narrows it down.
Yeah. She's the one who always does like the country voices. Like she played Hannah Montana, I think, on SNL.
Oh, you're talking about Vanessa Bayer.
I think so.
Does she have interesting tooth to gum ratio?
I think so.
Yeah, that's Vanessa Bayer. I fucking love her.
Yeah.
She's in I Think You Should Leave, and she's like at brunch with these sluts eating pig vomit or some shit. Yeah, that's Vanessa Bayer. I love her.
Yeah, she's in the music video for the Bin Laden song, and I remember thinking like, because she's like dancing, like sexy dancing, and like she's supposed to be like the sexy lady that he's sleeping with. And I remember thinking like she was their best option.
I think that's the gag.
Yeah, possibly. Not that she's like, you know, not that she's ugly or whatever,
No,
but
she's
I'm just
beautiful.
like,
It's just
they were going for like finest girl I ever met in my whole life, and I was just like, this is a girl that cast in the music video. I don't know.
I love that. I
Yeah.
have to check that out. Vanessa Bayer is very funny. She did a lot of SNL characters that I loved.
Yeah. She's great. She's funny, but it's just like weird that they would put her in this role, especially because she doesn't have any lines. And so I was like,
Which is a bummer because I feel like she usually like her performances are usually very funny
Yeah.
when she has like dialogue and stuff.
who else is in this movie? Maya Rudolph is like the refrigerator executive.
Yes.
She was kind of.
She's just there. I think she's really only in like 2 scenes maybe.
Yeah, I think she says something. I remember she did say something that I thought was really funny, but
Was it the hard R? Because that's inappropriate.
That's what it was. Was she like
That I thought. Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. We go ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm glad in the movie someone's like, "Oh, hard R." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Someone else said it because a lot of people were thinking. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was
And,
very funny though.
Yeah, there's a scene where Chris Red was like, "This is my N-word," and then he was like, "This is my best friend."
Yeah. I remember that. That was very funny. Joan Cusack as Connor's mom, I thought was very funny.
Oh yeah, she was like on tour with Fall Out Boy or something like that.
Yeah. She's cocaine for the kids first.
Yeah, but this movie is a happy ending. The Style Boys get back together. Mm-hmm. They write a hit song and they perform it at the Poppies with Michael Bolton. Which that's something. If you're watching the Lonely Island movie, you're like, when is Michael Bolton gonna show up? Because they sort of like revived him, you know?
I would say so, yeah, because I hadn't thought about Michael Bolton since Hercules.
I never heard of Michael Bolton until I saw the Jack Sparrow video. And now, obviously, I've listened to his music, and I'm like,
but eventually you figure out who he is.
He's an incredible singer. Yeah. And then I think they did like the Michael Bolton Big Sexy Valentine's Day or something.
Yeah, I believe that was them. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I watched it on Netflix, but I remember it.
I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing like Akiva doing a press for it. But yeah, I mean, so they sort of like brought his career to. I don't know, revived it, but like they made his career something different.
They opened him up to like other audiences. I would say is the best way to put it. Because some people were like, "Oh, I know. Oh, I do know who Michael Bolton is. I fuck with Michael Bolton.
Yeah,
I'm gonna invest in Michael Bolton." I'm sure. I have no doubt in my mind that Lonely Island converted like millennials over to Michael Bolton's whatever Bolton's fans call themselves, Bolton heads.
Bolton heads, sure. Did you ever see the Teen Titans Go to the movies?
I did actually. I love Teen Titans Go.
Michael Bolton? He plays like a tiger who's like singing a song with them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they hit him with their car, and then Cyborg gets out, and he's like,
I think his dad is a cop. Run!
And then they all get in the car and drive away.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck is this in a kids movie?
Because Teen Titans Go is fucking unhinged. It's one of my favorite, like...
That show is hilarious.
It's so fucking funny. It's my favorite thing to watch if I'm at a hotel.
Okay.
Because it's almost always on. That and ridiculousness.
Yeah, ridiculous.
If one of those two things are on, I'm very content
But
traveling.
yeah, for a kids show, because like I haven't even like watched episodes of Teen Titans Go, and I'm like,
it's so fun.
This is so funny. Like, yeah,
if you're ever in a hotel and it's on, I highly recommend just sitting and watching it. It's so fucking silly.
It's gonna be the go-to hotel watch is Teen Titans.
Oh yeah. Teen Titans Go during the day, ridiculousness at night.
Yeah.
You're set. You don't need to leave the hotel, even if you're traveling for other reasons. I got you.
Okay, and then Usher, he says, "What if I could do a donkey roll with the Style Boys, then I can die happy." And then he does a donkey roll with the Style Boys.
Yeah, and then he's so fucking geeked afterwards when he gets off stage.
There's a deleted scene, which you can see online, where Connor is doing an interview with Big Boy. Do you know Big Boy? He's like a radio host or whatever.
I'm pretty sure I do.
But he does like a...
There was a Big Boy in like Detroit that my brain goes to first, so I'm like, there's a possibility.
Yeah, no, there's this radio host, Big Boy, and he's famous for like having rappers come on and like freestyle or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And so he's like interviewing Connor, and he's like, Connor, like, I can't let you leave without like doing a freestyle. And he's like, oh man, you're gonna make me do this. And then he like pulls out cards and he's like start freestyling, like, using the cards. And then Big Boy is like, he's using cards, and Connor's like, hey, like, he's like, shut the fuck up,
Just be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
No, it's like he tells him like, I'm gonna use cards, just don't say anything. And Big Boy was like, oh, okay, like that's fine. But he's like roasting Big Boy in his raps. He's like,
oh, so Big Boy's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, he's like, Big Boy, like he's sitting there in an ugly ass hat or something like that. But yeah, and so he gets like really pissed about it.
I'll have to check that out. That makes me think of when Machine Gun Kelly went on the Breakfast Club to freestyle. I think maybe it wasn't the Breakfast Club, but it's likely.
Could have been Sway in the morning or whatever.
Yeah. And so he went on there to freestyle, and he sucked. He like almost started crying.
No way.
Poor guy.
I couldn't tell you a single one of his songs. I mean, maybe he's good,
I know his like pop punky post Sleeping with Megan Fox 1 or 2.
Okay.
Bloody Valentine is the one I can think of.
Okay. Any final thoughts on this movie? We've been at it for an hour.
Just short
of an hour. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on this movie. I want to see more Lonely Island content. Like, I want to see them continue.
Yeah.
I want them to be like fucking like Broken Lizard or like Mel Brooks and his like gang of his motley crew of funny peoples. Just keep fucking going. Or like Adam Sandler with his Happy Madison group.
Yeah, his little boys. It's a shame we didn't have Aiden on this because I know he's a fan and I know he saw them live. So we could have. I don't know what that would bring to the podcast, but at least he's seen them live.
You know, interesting stories. You met Chris Redd. That's fun.
Yeah, they. I don't know, they're probably up to stuff, and we just don't know.
It's likely. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of them was like, "Hey, I'm like a dad."
I think they're all dads by now.
It's most likely they've probably been dads for years, honestly. But I know sometimes people that get to that level, sometimes at a certain point, are like, "Hey, I gotta pause now before it's fucking too late."
Oh, you know, Andy Samberg did the Chippendales movie.
Oh, did he?
You didn't see that?
Oh, that Chippendales movie. I was thinking of Welcome to Chippendales with Hulu, on Hulu.
He kept his clothes on for this one.
The Chippendales on Disney Plus. I watched the fuck out of.
I was gonna say, that would be right up your alley. If you didn't see that, I would have been so surprised.
It was so fucking up my alley when I saw the trailer for it. I was like, I am so fucking in. The nostalgia horror in me is like all about this.
This movie was only
cast.
made for Brad.
Pretty much, yeah. That and when Lady Gaga did a Christmas special with the Muppets, that was the most like, who asked for this besides me? But yes, Lonely Island, keep it up.
Keep doing,
please,
songs or movies or whatever you guys want to do.
Do it all. You got people. We'll check it out.
And we'll also see you next time. Big peace.